When you think about football stadiums in Wales, the big names usually grab the spotlight. But in the Cymru Premier, the top tier of Welsh football, it's not about sheer size or money. It's about history, local pride, and the kind of atmosphere you only get when a whole community packs into a ground that barely holds 3,000 people. Today, we're ranking some of the biggest stadiums in the 2025-26 Cymru Premier seasons based on capacity. Let's dive in. 11. Cyncoed Campus. We start in the Welsh capital, but not at the big Cardiff City Stadium. Instead, we're in the leafy suburb of Cyncoed at Cardiff Metropolitan University's Cyncoed Campus. On paper, it's the smallest ground in the league at just 1,620 capacity, but it's a hub for developing talent, and it has a story that goes way beyond numbers. The ground is tied to the university, which means it doubles as both an academic sports hub and a professional football venue. Cardiff Met FC, the university's team, has been punching above its weight in the Cymru Premier for several seasons now. 10. Park Hall. Next up, we head over the border to England. Yes, you heard that right. One of the biggest clubs in Welsh football, the New Saints, TNS, actually plays in Oswestry, Shropshire. Their home is Park Hall, with a current capacity of 2,034. It's unusual, but it's completely within the rules, and TNS has become the powerhouse of the Cymru Premier from this base. Park Hall has an interesting history. The site has been used for sport since the mid-20th century, but the modern stadium really took shape after TNS moved here in the late 1990s. 9. Bridge Meadow. Now we head west, to the coastal town of Haverfordwest. Here sits Bridge Meadow Stadium, home of Haverfordwest County AFC, with a capacity of 2,100. Bridge Meadow has been at the heart of local football for decades. It's not just a stadium, it's a community hub. The ground has a traditional feel with stands on both sides, proper floodlights, and a sense of history baked into the terraces. In fact, it's one of those places where you can feel the generations of fans who've stood in the same spots, rain or shine, for years. Haverfordwest County have been steady contenders in the Cymru Premier, often finishing mid-table but with a loyal following. 8. Old Road. Next, we're off to South Wales to Old Road, the home of Britain Ferry Lansall AFC, with a capacity of 2,300. This is one of the more historic venues in the Cymru Premier, with roots going back to the 1920s. Old Road is exactly what it sounds like, a classic old-school ground. It's tucked into the heart of Britain Ferry, with a traditional layout and plenty of character. Over the years, it's been updated with covered stands, better seating, and floodlights, but it still has that authentic non-league charm. Britain Ferry Lansall is one of the more recent additions to the Cymru Premier, having climbed up from lower divisions. 7. Jenner Park. One of the true giants of Welsh football history comes next. Jenner Park in Bury, home of Bury Town United, with a capacity of 2,650. Built back in 1913, Jenner Park is one of the oldest grounds in Welsh football still in use. It's been redeveloped several times over the decades, but it retains its iconic status. For much of the 1990s and early 2000s, Bury Town were the kings of Welsh football, winning multiple titles and making waves in Europe. Jenner Park was the fortress where it all happened. This ground has hosted some legendary European nights. 6. Maes Tegid. Tucked away in North Wales, Maes Tegid might not be as famous as Jenner Park, but it's a powerhouse in its own right. Bala Town has become one of the strongest clubs in the Cymru Premier over the last decade, consistently qualifying for Europe and pushing TNS for the title. Their home ground has been central to that rise. The stadium is compact but well-equipped, with covered stands, modern seating, and an artificial surface that suits year-round football. It's had several upgrades to meet UEFA standards, allowing Bala to host European qualifiers right here in their hometown. For a town of just a few thousand people, that's extraordinary. 5. The Oval. The Oval is a ground that feels like a living piece of Welsh football history. Sitting in Caernarfon, a town dominated by its medieval castle and sweeping views of Snowdonia, the Oval has been the home of Caernarfon Town for well over a century. Football has been played here since the late 19th century, making it one of the oldest still active football grounds in Wales. Its official capacity today is about 3,000, though much of that comes from standing terraces rather than seats. The main stand provides shelter for a small number of fans, But the real charm of the oval is how the local community crowds along the touchlines, some leaning against the railings, others standing on the concrete steps. 4. Llanelian Road. As some locals call it, the Four Crosses Construction Arena. Because of sponsorship deals, this is home to Colwyn Bay. Nestled on the edge of Old Colwyn, the ground has a capacity of 3,000, with around 500 seats in the main stand. Unlike some older Cymru Premier grounds, Llanelian Road is relatively modern. It was first opened in the mid-1980s when Colwyn Bay moved from their previous home, Arias Park. The shift marked the club's ambition to rise through the leagues, and for a while, Colwyn Bay played in the English system before returning to Welsh football in 2019. 3. Cae-y-Castell. Here's where it gets interesting. Cae's Quay Nomads don't currently play in their original town. Instead, they share Cae-y-Castell in Flint, home of Flint Town United. This ground also holds around 3,000, though again, much of that is standing space. Cae-y-Castell has been an important football venue in North Wales for decades. It originally opened in the early 1990s, but sits on the same patch of land that's been associated with Flint football for over a century. The name Cae-y-Castell translates as Castle Field, and it's not just a poetic title. The ground is located right by Flint Castle, a 13th-century fortress overlooking the River Dee. Fans literally watch football with medieval ruins in the backdrop. 2. Bryntirion Park. Pennybont's Bryntirion Park is one of those grounds that has quietly transformed itself in recent years. Located in Bridgend, a town with a population of nearly 50,000, it has the potential to become one of the biggest football hubs in South Wales outside Cardiff and Swansea. The stadium dates back to the 1920s when it was the home of Bryntirion Athletic, one of the clubs that eventually merged to form Pennybont. For decades, it was just a small local ground with limited facilities. But with the rise of Pennybont as a Cymru Premier contender, money and effort have gone into making it fit for modern top-flight football. 1. Stebenheath Park. Located in Llanelli, a town with deep rugby and football traditions, Stebenheath Park has been around since 1920. It's seen everything from domestic league games to European nights under the lights. With a capacity of about 3,700, it edges ahead of the 3,000 seaters we've covered so far. The stadium features a proper seated stand that stretches the length of the pitch, giving it a more professional look than many other Cymru Premier grounds. On the opposite side, there are open terraces, which still allow for old-school standing support. Stebenheath has hosted big matches over the years, including UEFA qualifiers when Llanelli AFC enjoyed their golden period in the 2000s. So there you have it. The biggest football stadiums in the 2025-26 Cymru Premier, ranked by capacity. They may not be the biggest by global standards, but they're the beating heart of Welsh football. And maybe that's the magic of the Cymru Premier. It's not about 60,000 seats or billionaire owners. It's about local pride, community roots, and keeping football alive where it matters most. Thank you for watching. If you love the content, please make sure that you subscribe, like, share, comment, and hit the notification bell. See you in the next one.